Is the Scraplauncher any good in patch 5.1? I'm going to come out and say it, no. The unit is not without its virtues, but in current patch, apparently past nerfing included, it's not that good at the job of being artillery, and as that is its day job, I cannot call it good. Yeah, you tease me about not finding many units outright bad, but that's measured against its role and use. Now, is it useless? No, you just need to hold it against a somewhat lower, Noblar-esque standard. Recruited for 900 gold and 225 upkeep, the Scraplauncher comes in as a single entity with 4,612 health. Armor is 80, which is decent enough. Leadership is 60, speed is 66, with a charge speed of 102. Yes, that is highly unusual. Melee attack begins at a mere 26, attack interval the standard 4. Splash target size is very large, so it will splash even 4 entity per unit chariots on Ultra, but maximum targets actually damaged is limited to 4. Note that this is a collision attacks unit, so all of the model can damage on charges, but the numbers that can be damaged per second of contact are limited. Melee defense is a mere 16. Weapon strength is 160, split between base 45 and armor piercing 115, with a bonus versus infantry of 20. Charge bonus is 48, and mass is 2200. So yes, this can function as a less than fully decent monstrous chariot. For ranged, ammunition is 18 default, and these are ogres, not dwarfs, so you do not have ammo replenishment hero skills available. Range is 420, which is pretty long. Missile damage is given as 441, with each direct impact doing base 110 and AP 50 damage, but each impact has a detonation radius of 6 meters and produces 70 base and 20 AP explosion damage. 3 projectiles per volley, that is, per single official unit of ammunition, and reload time is 17, total accuracy the default 20. Calibration distance is 340, calibration area is given as 80, which is modified by the total accuracy, but yeah, it's not even close to pinpoint. Penetration cap is large, and max targets potentially damaged beyond the first by so-called penetration, not the explosion at the end, is 10 targets. So, bottom line, it is inaccurate. It can certainly diminish blobs of trolls as well as orcs, but there are a number of problems holding it back. First, the AI itself is very finicky for firing groups. They tend to bump into each other, I mean physically, and stuff like that. Sometimes they won't fire properly at all. Second, while you can hold Alt to shoot the ground, you lose the ability to do this as soon as the cursor hovers over a unit, and I've seen this bug out and have Scraplaunchers charge the targeted position too. Otherwise, you're forced to shoot at individual units. This means jinking works on them really well, and more to the general point, the inaccuracy means their friendly fire murder machines if firing at enemies engaged with Noblars. They'll hurt friendly ogres too, just not as much. I guess your ideal circumstance is a blob engaged with a single entity monster like a Stonehorn. Onto the redline skills. Tools of Destruction adds a maximum of plus 20% ammunition and plus 8% weapon strength at 3 pips, and that's your only ammo increase. Continuous Volley grants rank 7 Scraplaunchers, plus 10% speed, not trivial at all with this unit, range plus 10%, also not trivial, and reload time reduction of 15%, which is pretty powerful actually. The only tech in the current tree that offers anything is Scrap Collectors, reducing the upkeep cost of Noblar infantry and Scraplaunchers by 50%. Maybe it's not immediately obvious because of how cheap regular Noblars are by default, but 50% reduction is astounding. It basically means Scraplaunchers now cost as much as free company militia. Now, are they worth that? That's where it gets difficult. These demo combats are frustrating because here's an artillery piece that has the speed to flank, but it can't flank because its balance of power is worth too much. Enemies split off to rush in melee. You don't have the reload time to fend them off by shots alone. Firing against the flat of an infantry rectangle is by far the worst shot you can take against them. And basically over and over again, I was reduced to trying to play ping pong with infantry, bouncing them between Scraplaunchers, trying to get away with being chariots and ramming into them. Now that actually semi-kinda sorta works, but it's at the same time a complete condemnation of their use as mobile artillery. Of course, with a different situation they can be at least somewhat useful, but it relies on facing enemies that are going to stand and shoot at something not your Scraplaunchers. At a range, Scraplaunchers can comfortably hit and hope it's enough damage to matter, or they will get advantageous flanks without being rushed. Or more to the point, 420 range, potentially plus 10%, is tremendous range for initiating a battle against a reluctant opponent, forcing them to get off a hill and charge down. That they can do, and they will reposition back behind or stride your lines very well once that job is done. I just cannot promise that beyond this roll they will be anything like consistent or good, but they do have the potential to get some damage in. You're just rolling dice and hoping. As they level up, they'll get more accurate to be sure, but by themselves, they will not carry you. Fortunately, you're playing ogres, and unless you're Grease's Goldtooth himself, Nalvar's do not carry you through the battle, and in his case, it's more like they carry you into the battle, not really through it. Anyway, aside from that, you take what you can get and rely on the ogres to do the real feasting. That's how it should be anyway. All that said, a cheap mobile triple-shot catapult will rack up damage if the enemy allows it to, so go right ahead and try. Take what the enemy gives you. At any rate, you are giving the enemy a reason to advance into an area that's more to your liking. Or, you empty your launchers of all scrap and park them and use them as chariots on archers late in the battle. That's okay too. Take care, and have fun taking nobblers out for a little scrap.
I ain't no gobbo! Off we go! Boss says so!